And welcome back to Off the Stage Podcast. It's the show where we take mostly musicians off the stage and into the pub to talk about the ins and outs of the music world. We're back at the Vaux. I am James Berry. This is Conor Michael, and we are joined. It's not a musician, but you are helpful and trying to be proactive in the music scene.
Yeah, I think
on my toes. Yeah, James.
Yeah. Well, it
is the second question of the first part.
Well, okay, it's a good introduction. Anyway, it's Matty. Well, I haven't even mentioned the name yet, man.
That's how you start.
All right, we're joined by Matty Gray. Me. You know what it is? My soundboard just suddenly decided to advert. Oh, what's going on here? There we go. I love you. You know what? I've had this soundboard for ages, and every now and then a random ad comes up because it's free, but you can have a paid version.
But we're not paying for it.
It's like £1.50 or something stupid like that.
No,
so
why would you want to do that?
Yeah, I just
live with it.
Is it per month or is it just a general £1.50?
I think it's like an all-time. I haven't even pressed the purchase button, so I don't even know. I've just assumed
it's an all-time. I'll give you the £1.50.
No, you want the peril of the ad kicking in. Just
yeah, that's true.
That's what you want. Live on the edge.
We've had 66 people view our story saying, "What questions would you like to ask?" And no one's given us.
Most of them were like, "Who's he?" and "What you doing on your podcast?"
No, we got one person loved it, and nobody actually. If anybody follows our Instagram, and if you don't, we're Off the Stage UK. Go follow it. Yeah. Respond to our stories. It gives us something to talk about, because without it, you've been listening to Off the Stage. I've been Conor Michael. This has been James Berry. We'll see you next time.
Yeah. See you later. Cheers.
Usually the first question we go to is, what are you drinking? But
right. Well, not drinking currently.
So don't be offended that we leave you out of this question.
No, that's absolutely fine.
But James,
I've got you a mystery. I was looking for like the sour, but the sour was the same from last week. It was the twice brewed green apple sour.
Was nice.
Which is very nice, but this one...
You normally have two sours on, James. What was your one?
There wasn't one. There was just the one sour. I asked, is there any other sours? And they're like, no, it's only one sour. Which is honestly, the ISIS are usually top notch for like the selections and stuff, so I'm assuming they must be waiting for one, or one ran out over the bank holiday or whatnot.
Stout, I can smell that.
This is a stout. This is a new one. He specifically recommended this because I think he knows we like stouts as well as sours.
Bit of a coffee aftertaste to it.
You know what? I haven't even tried it yet, but I got the same one.
Would you like a sip?
No,
guess what it is? Are you sure?
I'm quite all right, thank you.
Yeah, that
does like a fruity taste to it as well.
Yeah, you got it pretty much spot on. Well, you haven't got it spot on, but it's called the Italian Job, right? And it's a tiramisu stout.
Okay,
so it's
an interesting one.
Yeah, it's quite nice actually.
It is. I'm not a big fan when they taste too coffee-like, but I could drink that.
Yeah, it's got that bit of sweetness in it. Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
So yeah, Matty. Do you prefer Matty or you Matt?
I'm all of them, depending on who and where
Mateus.
and when.
Yeah.
So
I just took from your Instagram. So
that's exactly it is. It's like, Matty on the Instagram. Yeah, so. It is, and there's a lot of people who will call me you or Martin or Malcolm or whatever else, I'll just answer that.
That's normally James, to be fair.
I like to just make up names, to be fair.
So who are you to the music scene? What do you kind of do?
I work at a little startup based in Newcastle called Gigco, where I'm basically a live music search and booking ticket app that's just started. We launched in Newcastle in November of last year, and we basically aggregate all the live music events that are happening, populate them into our little app, and then people can go on the app, see what's happening locally for Newcastle and North Tyneside currently, share that information with friends, go out to the ticket sites and buy tickets, be aware of events that are free so they can just pop along and go and have a nice night out. And the idea is to sort of help the live music scene. I mean, this sort of originally started sort of pre-COVID, but post-COVID it was obviously pretty important that the scene, both from an artist point of view and a venue point of view, was really struggling.
Yeah.
So the idea was to produce something that was of a benefit for all parties, because artists need support, venues need support, and fans find it hard sometimes to find out what's going on.
And how much does it cost to have that app or to use it?
The app is free.
You just
go to the app store for Apple or Google, and you can download it, Gigco Live Music app. And if you're in Newcastle North Tyneside, you can utilise it today. If you are where we are today in Sunderland or South Tyneside, that will be launched hopefully in the next couple of months. And we'll be covering this side of the region, and then moving down to Stockton, Middlesbrough, Teesside, and then the next big city we've got planned to launch in is Leeds.
Right, so you kind of just like, you're starting it,
taking the north,
very local, and then building it slowly, because it's
effectively it was like, you have to test first of all that it works. There's one of the reasons why Google struggles to tell you about live music is because it's really hard to search for live music on websites, because there's not a lot of information that is sort of scrapable. A lot of the time people make a poster and then they stick it on a website with all the information on there, but that doesn't mean that it's mineable for Google to go out and find out what's on. So the other week, like, just checking that Google hadn't fixed this problem, we typed in live music in Newcastle, and we were told about Wolves against Crystal Palace, which was neither live music nor in Newcastle.
That's interesting.
So they can get stuff from Ticketmaster if there's a big event on at the arena or the O2, and some of the other smaller events that are using some of the other ticketing platforms. They can mine that data, but on the whole they always have a blank spot because of the way websites are designed. So we've spent a bit of time and effort on trying to find a solution for that.
I was gonna say, because that is a good idea, because I think if I'm ever, not that I'm ever available over the weekends to find gigs, because I'm gigging myself usually, but if I'm ever looking for an event that's going on, the only way you can really find it, obviously Conor's Gig Guide, big shout out,
except for this week, because I got lazy.
But apart from that, it's literally just it's going on the Instagram or the Facebook pages of the venues themselves, and that a lot of the time I reckon you probably miss, because of the way the algorithm is. If you're not constantly liking their stuff.
I mean, this comes back to this thing about the story thing that you've got for today, saying that 66 people are going to find out about this, but there's a deadline to this.
Yeah.
So there'll be people tomorrow morning going, "Oh, I had a great question for Matty, but the algorithm didn't ping it up to them until the event had passed." So there's always that you're up against. There's always just too much information that the algorithm's already wanting to tell you about, because they not just want to tell you about the bands that you're interested in, they want to tell you about the restaurant or the beer that's just been launched by Twice Brew Brewery, or they want to tell you about a sale on at some clothing store that you turned up once at, and or they want to tell you about a million other things, or today my Twitter feed is only showing me information about Royal Blood, having a hissy fit at the BBC radio. But that's literally all the music news that I'm getting today is that, because that's ticked a box for the algorithm. It's this is really interesting, everyone loves this. But if anything else had happened, I haven't got a clue. So you're up against that. So to have something a bit specialised, a bit niche, sometimes people go, "Oh, well, why would I want that?" Well, it's the same reason why if you're into running, you probably have Strava on your phone. If you're, it's a sort of social media platform that nobody recognises being a social media platform. It's just where I get info, and it's...
Because there's been, I talk about not being able to kind of... gig and stuff. I was actually out last Saturday. Last Friday. Sorry, for my wife's birthday.
Happy
birthday. From got a good few weeks ago when this got
out. Exactly. But happy birthday last month.
But we were just in town. Didn't have any plans to actually go and see live music. But just so happened one of my mates was playing at a pub. We got from the Facebook. But I was thinking, how many occasions would there be where you're just sitting in the pub, you got no intention of watching a live band, and just kind of it's sunny outside, it's the afternoon, you've been drinking on a Saturday all afternoon, you think, I wouldn't mind some live music, I wonder what's on. You go on your app and you find out exactly what's happening.
That was one of the sort of principal ideas at the start, was literally that idea of, just opening the app and seeing what was on around you. So the first thing that it's set to is basic proximity. So if you got into a town that you didn't know, you open up the app and you can see the events that are happening local to you. But we wanted to make it not just about that immediate thing of what's happening now. You want it to be about planning, because obviously the real way to help musicians and venues is pre-ticket sales, or at least having a bloody good idea of how many people are going to turn up. So so even if it's free events, if we have things that can register interest, and we can say to a venue, look, we know that 40 people have shown interest in this, or 60 people have shown interest in this, or this has been favorited a number of times. That'll help them in terms of like building up the business, so that they can make sure they've got the right number of staff on, or think, well, we could do this another time, what have you. So it's about that thing of like, supporting the business side of things, because we've got a friend who has helped us last year, Megan, who is brilliant, and she did a master's degree in sort of marketing and music, and I can't remember if it was Newcastle or Northumbria. It matters not, but she'd been involved in a paper that had been about musicians having a really sort of hatred of the word entrepreneur, like seeing it as a pejorative. And I was like, that's understandable, but it's a problem for you, because if you're trying to make money from this, and you probably do want to try and make money from this, otherwise it's a very expensive hobby. Then you've got to either know that you need to do that, or have tools that you can say, well, I don't want to do the entrepreneurial thing, but if I've got this thing here, then I can pass it over to it. So the idea being that there's basically going to be a whole load of information that we'll be able to gather. The fan will see the app, but there's also like a back-end portal for venues and artists going forward.
Clever. Not so much ignoring you guys. I was trying to log back into my Gigco. I'm having some proper issues with that. I'm not gonna lie.
No, that might be a location thing, because we're currently in what everybody calls bug fixing, but it's basically refactoring the code. We've got our,
because it is a very new. I mean, who's the
just reset my password and it's still saying I can't log in.
No, right. Well, we'll have to sort that out. Might get you to take a screenshot so I can send it to Gino in the morning.
Who's the brains behind it?
So basically, there was two founders. There's Frank and Ben, and they were running bars in Southeast Asia, in Laos.
Nice.
And so Ben's a musician, and Frank had played in a few bands, but they had venues, and they were struggling from both sides of their business. They were struggling to be artists and get gigs, and they were struggling to be venue holder and get artists in. So they thought, well, this is purely a sort of logistics, sort of infrastructure problem, because I'm a keen musician who wants to go and play places, and I'm struggling to find places, and I'm also a venue owner who wants to get musicians in. I know there's these musicians who are struggling to get jobs. So the initial idea was called, Musician on the Road, and that was going to be the app. It was going to be, you're a musician and you're traveling through any town, and you'll find out the venues that like have stuff going on. And we started working on that principle. I joined about a year in, when Ben had come back from Laos to be back home to see his family when lockdown hit, because Laos just closed the borders, so no one was allowed in or out. So he managed to get out just in time and get back to Forest Hall. And I was moving house, and he came to help me move house, and we're chatting about stuff. And I was like, this is really exciting. Let's see what we can do. So we went from that initial idea of sort of connecting venues and artists to we took that out like last year and did some sort of like market research, and we got like a lot of like, oh yeah, this is interesting, this is interesting, and then sort of blank faces as sort of venue owners went, but I'm too busy pissing out fires that I've got to deal with here, and you don't know my problems, and artists kind of like looking blankly at you, like going, well, who are you, what the hell do you so we sort of like, we did that. It was literally this time last year, it was like May and June. We went to down to London, we went to Manchester, Bristol, and we did some events in Newcastle at the Sage and at the Clooney, and we did a little show at RPM Records as well. That was cool. And we sort of came away from that realising that there was definitely problems with the industry, but the thing that we were seeing as the solution was like too far down the line. Like we would want to connect venues and artists and allow people to start planning a tour. So like, I think I'd heard on one of your podcasts, someone was planning like doing, well, this was from like Christmassy time. You had Dan Gray on. The reason why I know that's because that's my brother's name, so I'd pick that. So the ones I listened to, I was like, I'll pick the one that sounds like you're talking to my brother. And you'd sort of plan like your route, sort of like the tour through the country, and we're going, but if the app works properly, you could see all the cities and towns in between that maybe don't get served as well. You're passing through on a Tuesday evening, and you're going, all right, well, actually, I know I could bring 50 people here, and there's an event there. But we knew that the problem really for us was credibility. Who the hell are you? Like, what the hell do you know? So we just started from the beginning and went, well, what's the real problems here? And we realised it was kind of boring stuff like marketing, promotions, marketing, and like really, like horrible businessy things. But it was all part of, like, when you're trying to connect three groups of people, fans and venues and artists, we were like looking and saying, well, what's the easiest? And the easiest for us was saying, what's the venues? Because they're physical and they're there. Like, they don't move. They're not here for 4 weeks of the year and then go home at term time or whatever. Like, like students or artists, where they might be, if they're proper successful professional artists and they're passing through for 3 months of the year and then they've got to go and record something, and then you don't know what their timetable is. So we were like, well, we'll stick with the venues. So we were like, right, well, what's the first thing that we want as a venue? And we had a little office in the Oosburn in the town between Ernest and Cobalt. And we were like, well, what if we just put up like a physical like screen, like you would see on a bus shelter, with what's on, like for the Oosburn, and just have that on all the time. And we're like, well, that's the first version of the app, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, that's what we'll build.
That's cool. Like, no, that's a good idea. Like,
so how do you determine who can put something on the app? So, for example, I presume you want it to be like original musicians. We couldn't just say, well, we're playing Filthies on Friday, watch us play Jerry Cinnamon.
Do you know what? We, like, at the original version that we had in our head was, we didn't care. We were not snobs. We were completely agnostic about this. We kind of thought live music was live music was live music. Like, and we didn't give a shit. Like, I mean, don't mean to be dismissive about that. I mean, one of the other sort of side hustly things we were doing last year was we were doing some filming of shows, and we filmed Sea Power at the Crescent Club in Cullercoats, which is like the workmen's club sort of right on the seafront there. And Damon Albarn's the Good, the Bad and the Queen had played there a few times, and supporting Sea Power was Lanterns on the Lake, and like Hazel from Lanterns on the Lake comes on and says, oh yes, I told me mum I was doing a turn at the Crescent Club, and she was like, oh, what's the matter with your career, has it gone down this one? But that's it, downstairs was a bloke doing like Jimmy Nail covers and throwing in some classics. But as far as I'm concerned, the people downstairs were having as much fun as the cool kids upstairs. So it didn't matter. But we have decided that in terms of like planning stuff, at the minute we're focusing on the people doing their original work, like
because it's it's mainly pubs and stuff that do the cover stuff. So
I mean, it came from a conversation with a guy at the Independent here. Like, he was concerned that we were like that the sort of the original music scene in Sunderland didn't get as fair a crack of the whip, or got lost in the club scene. Like,
I mean, I've been around probably nigh on 15 years now. God, that makes me feel old. It will be maybe even longer. And the original scene 15 years ago was next to non-existent. Like, it's so much better now. Like, it's only recently I've started to get back into the original stuff, because I've been on the cover scene for so long, and it's been dead easy to get a covers gig in a pub in Sunderland. But it's so, like, you're thinking, what venues were there in Sunderland? There's barely any. But now there's loads to choose from. There's good, like, in such a short little space and all.
Well, I think that's kind of the thing that's surprising. I mean, when we were plotting out the Newcastle list, at a guess, you'd have people saying, oh, there must be like 10 or 20 places that's playing live music, and like for 45, that's where we're at, like 45.
Really?
Yeah, regular every sort of like weekend, or more than 45, which is huge numbers. Huge numbers. So I'll bet you if you did Sunderland, I mean, I know like what we've got mapped out for the first stuff, I think it's about 10 venues. Half of them are really easy for us to do the data mining for, the other half are not. So if there's any people building websites in something, try harder. But that's part of the help that we're building, is that we're trying to be able to use their their sort of rudimentary websites in a way that will make it more visible to folk. But I personally don't see the difference between an originals band and a covers band, because I think it's about entertainment, and
that's true. And a lot of people forget that, I think, like especially Royal Blood.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they really did fuck up. Like, they did forget that. Like,
it's the way I would go on about a gig. Yeah. Like, that's what I do. You know, when you're at Filthies, when you're like, "Are we all having a good time?" and one person claps, and you go, "Oh, all right, one person does."
Yeah.
I saw the video where they're like, "Oh, well, 9 people have enjoyed it." I was like, "Whoa, there's a difference." I'm like a pub singer. I can get away with this kind of banter. You can't do that on stage in a festival.
Fair, though, it's like, I don't know what they were expecting. Like, I mean, it was basically the whole, like, it was Lewis Capaldi, all the little, like, they were going to see, and it's just like that. Lewis Capaldi's not a rock star, you know, so it's the kind of music they were trying to sing to. It's like,
I think the sort of people who are making the analogous comments between, like, is it Daphne and Celeste who turned up in Reading
and getting
thrown bottles of piss at them, like when they're like these 2 young lasses getting bottled by the fans. That's hardcore. People being agnostic to you or not giving a monkeys about these bands because just do your thing and leave. We're not going to be horrible to you. We're not going to throw urine at you, but just we're not going to clap either.
Maybe they should have been better.
Well, that's a really shit gig. That's exactly it. Everyone's allowed a shit gig, so you're completely allowed a shit gig, and you could be allowed to just go, "That wasn't for us." You know, you can walk off stage. Like, my brother manages bands and DJs. There'll definitely be times when one of his artists has taken him to one side and said, "What the fuck did you book me on there for?" Because that was not the right place for my art. You know, so I think that was definitely a question that they could have asked. And, you know, like, some people just sometimes wake up and they decide that they want to be a dick that day. Yeah. And if it's a bit of a combination of all those things, but really, like, who'd have thought, like, yesterday that the thing that would be filling Twitter was Royal Blood, kicking off to some teenage kids in Scotland.
I know.
I didn't have that on the bingo card.
No, I didn't actually.
No, but anything can happen nowadays. We're going to call that part 1 for now.
Yeah.
And we've got some Just Ask Jameses in part 2.
Yeah.
Don't we, James?
Yeah, I'll find some.
We'll explain that in a bit.
Excellent.
But we'll see you there.
Yep. Right. Now, what's this done?
Hello there. Hi, guys. We are here to tell you about our festival. On the 17th of June this year, from 2 o'clock at the Ship Isis, we are hosting our very first Off the Stage Fest.
We certainly
James,
are.
tell them who we've got.
We have headlining the Neoelectrics.
Woo! Most people go headline last, but go on.
We've all. I don't know how to do this. It's the first festival we'll bloody host.
We have Yuma, Sam Shields, Josh Hennigan, Philip Jonathan, Black Moss, Electric Circus, and Fire Lady Luck. And then on our final 3 acts of the night, we have
Fail to Ignite,
LN, and who's headlining, James?
the Neoelectrics.
Oh, you never heard that before. It's going to be no fixed fee. You just walk in, you pay a donation, whether you want to pay a penny or you want to pay £1 million or even more, you know, by all means. We don't take a cut. It all goes to the acts. If you pay $1 million, we might take a little sample. But realistically, no, we're not going to take anything. It's going to be given to the acts, split equally, and there'll be a separate tip jar as well.
Absolutely.
On the stage. If you can make it all day, make it all day. If you can't, doors open at 2. Well, doors probably open like 1:30, really.
Yeah,
the first
1:30.
act's on at 2.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's kind of all we need to say.
Yeah,
Turn up, Ship Isis in Sunderland.
And this camera's fucking wonky, I've just realised.
Oh well.
Yeah.
Anyway, you look taller for once.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
And either enjoy the rest of the pod, or I hope you enjoyed the episode. I don't know where this clip comes into it.
I'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll see you on the 17th of June.
See you later. Hang on.
That's like that Omar track that they used for the Cadbury's chocolate advert like back in the early 90s.
Yeah, I went Cadbury's World yesterday, and now I feel fat as hell because I've just done nothing but eat curly whirlies.
Nothing wrong
24
with that.
hours.
Nothing wrong with that.
Oh, I like that. We need to use that more often, James.
I'll maybe think it. I've got this.
Because for the first...
You're listening to Off the Stage with your hosts,
that's the original.
James Berry and
Conor Michael, where we take musicians off the stage and into the pub to talk about the ins and outs
of the music world.
You couldn't get a Fiverr job, could you?
No, I couldn't. Not at all. Just record on my phone. I've got like a mixing desk app on my phone. I just like... Honestly, it's dead clever. I tried at one point recording a full EP just on my phone, just using my phone mix and stuff. It didn't go very well.
How are you getting along with your recordings? Because I remember before lockdown, I went yours and we did a collaboration song, which we never recorded. But you were going to release like 3 projects, and you had them all planned.
I've still got them planned. I just don't have the time to... I mean, I literally, one of the songs that I literally wrote was about never having flipping time because I've got work. It's the one what was the song? What was the word go? Something I never reached my prime because I didn't have the time. Or something like that. Anyway.
Eminem in the corner, yeah.
Superb.
Yo, I never had the time. But yeah. Yo. I can't do it. That's just like I'm sick of that now. No, but yeah, no. Honestly, I'm at the peak of kind of workload, like nearly breaking point at workload. So it's just getting the time. I'm basically what I need to do is I need to get a week off the day job and just either book a recording studio or record the stuff myself and find someone else to mix it.
Do the latter
because I'm shite at mixing stuff. But I just need to get it. What I'm planning on doing, to be honest, because I actually think my band would suit it really well. Just getting into a practice room and just doing like rough as hell recordings. And we're getting some really cool guy who's really good at like mixing with all the stuff to kind of do a really good mix on it. Even though the recordings will sound rough as hell, I think it'll sound quite sharp.
When you go to Tracks on Thursday, ask them about that because they have a recording studio at the back.
Yeah. Ooh, I might do.
I'm sure there's going to be plenty of people who listen to this who'll think, I know someone who can help you with that.
Yeah, probably. If you can help us with the recordings. I mean, I don't have much money, but I've got, To be fair, actually, John Timney said he'd be able to help us out. Which he's the one who recorded the Espresso Martini song.
That sounded great. So I just finished my tour on a Saturday, and I thought what I'll do before I go on stage, between the support act I had on before me and me, I put a little set list on, like playlist of like my personal favourites. So like one of my biggest influences is Ollie Murs. So I opened it with Dance Week Tonight kind of thing,
right, yeah.
And then it went on to my friend Scott's song, Little Fires, nice acoustically done himself. Put James's on Espresso Martini, and it was such a great sound through the system.
He does a good job, John. Like it's just in his little tiny room.
It just sat considering it was like a homemade recorded song, you don't expect it to sound full on quality produced, and it was like I've heard it on Spotify and it sounds great, but that's probably the first time I heard it for a proper speaker system going, oh shit, this is an absolute sound.
He uses the exact same microphone I've got.
Yeah.
It shows sometimes it's not like it's because I've got like a little bit of gear, no idea. He's got like some gear and a lot of idea.
Yeah,
it's like
100%.
He knows what he's doing with it.
You know what you're doing with it.
It's not the quality, it's the technique.
Really is,
that's the end of the game.
Absolutely. He just literally I was like, oh, what's because I recorded the guitar first, and he just used the same mic to record the guitar, but he just like dangled it across there, so it wasn't even properly like positioned or anything. It just sounded like really cool. He's like, oh, I think it's gonna be like rough and ready this, so you don't want it like absolutely spot on, you want it just a bit messy. I'm like, yeah, you know to
go back with John, it was brilliant sounding when it came through the speakers.
Oh, thank you.
I had it all planned as well because I was really excited. I was like, right, and then I'll end on this song, and then I came out on stage, I went to play the first chord, I was like, oh, it didn't work. Technical issue, I had to come back off stage trying to fix it. Right, play another song, go on. Right, I think it's all fixed. I checked all the batteries, everything's fine, went back in, that's still not happening. My jack lead out the loop pedal station that I use decided to be one of them dodgy wires. So for it to work, I would have had to have just kept pressing the jack like that. And when I let go, so it like zzz.
It's annoying.
And I was like, oh, great. So everybody's hyped up. I'm on stage going, before I can start my show, does anybody brought a spare jack? Anybody bring jack leads to gigs nowadays?
Yeah.
Soundtech sorted that out, but that was fun.
The beauty of live music, though, isn't it?
I know, right? But that's it. You don't get it on Spotify.
No, they don't.
Exactly.
They don't.
We do a thing called Just Ask James, and this is where James goes on Reddit, He goes on r/musicians and he finds a couple of problems and we've got to solve them.
All right.
This one isn't actually r/musicians. I found this one and I thought this would be pretty cool because it's about gigs. Gigco.
Excellent.
This isn't a gig in Newcastle, but it's on r/Newcastle upon Tyne, and it's by username Personal Sherbet 868. That's the username, and it goes. It says, a Newcastle girl that I met at the Avril Lavigne's show in London this week. This is 18 days ago, so this is
right. Okay.
So yeah.
Oh,
very good.
Prep for this episode.
Well, you didn't send this, did you? No, you didn't.
No.
This, I think this is so it says, we had a lovely time together after the show and you were so sweet. You and your sister were staying in Wood Green, North London, whilst you was visiting from Newcastle. I recall you mentioning your plan to attend the Blink-182 show in September.
Blink-182. Oh my God!
This is just.
I think we found both of them.
Yeah, the Blink-182 show in September in Glasgow.
Are we the two girls?
I think we might be the sisters.
Yeah. this wasn't us dressing as Freddie Mercury. This is going to Avril Lavigne, that's to say.
We had an Avril Lavigne concert with Blink-182 and Freddie Mercury moustaches.
It's our double lives. We don't really do filthies. We go down to North London to see. I
wouldn't hide that fact.
Yeah. No, definitely not.
Anyway, he says, I helped you order a taxi, but your driver arrived before we could exchange context. Since then, you've been constantly on my mind. Oh. And it's such a shame that it's unlikely we'll ever meet again. Palmy says, she said, see you later, boy. So this isn't really a dilemma. I just thought it's quite a cool little story. So, I mean, I guess what you'd need to do is go to Newcastle, go to the Gigco app, find out
Blink-182 when they're playing.
Either Blink-182 or Avril Lavigne's playing, and chances are
100% they'll be there.
Yeah,
that's exactly it, and you can just see who's favoured it or who's attending. By the time that those two bands are probably touring, there'll be the news feed, so you'll be able to see all the people who are talking about it and getting excited, and you may find your skater boy or girl or whichever way around it was via the app. That's where people are going to get married to this thing.
Yeah,
right. Actually, just a quick one on Gigco. Do you find like big name artists have been on there yet, or is it just people who know it?
Well, our local big name artists, like Sam Fender, not directly, but Johnny, he's a fan of it. He's been very vocal about it. So that's great, because
so it's not like Beyonce was on there last week or anything.
I mean, all the shows are on there. Yeah. Like they're all, like I say, where we publish everything that goes out there. But we've had Johnny Blue Hat has been very positive about it and said that he thought it was pretty ace, which is nice to hear.
I might change our gig guide a bit and just somehow refer to the Gigco app.
Well, I mean,
picking a couple of like favourites out and stuff.
Joking aside, like we're wanting to work with any zines. Like we've been in touch with Crack Magazine and spoken to them. Like anyone who's doing anything in the space. We're not trying to sort of like say this is ours. We want to do this because we think that that's the problem. We think the problem is that it's been really cliquey.
Yeah.
Like either deliberately so because people like working in their little cliques, or just almost by default because if you are like a venue who has a contractual obligation with a particular ticket provider, you can only be in their app, promoting your tickets through that app. And we kind of go, that's like a zero-sum game. So we, anybody who's being positive about live music, we want to be pals with them.
Well, we'll try and figure something out.
Definitely.
Every Monday we put a gig guide up, whenever I remember. And we partner with Spark FM as well, and then they give it a little plug as well. So the three of will make the Holy Trinity out here.
Yeah, it's all about working together.
It is like because it's so hard to get the word out there. Like I say, when the first guy that I showed the app to, who is a live music like real fan, was like, this will be mint when I go to a city I don't know. And I was like, all right, tell us about 4 gigs that are happening this month. And he went, I don't know. And I was like, that's the problem. Like you think but you don't. And he's like, oh yeah, shit, yeah. All right, oh shit, they're playing. It's like, right, great, excellent. Tickets bought.
I could have used that and went to Wrocław in Poland not too long back. There was a really good band playing in an Irish pub, mean, luckily I caught them, but it's just like I'm just thinking I really fancy listening to some live music, and I could not find for the life of us on Google who was playing where. There was one place I found that there was like an event on, but it was like cash only, and you only had card, and they were like, "Is there a cash machine?" Like, no. So I was like, okay then.
I mean, that's that's literally the sort of granular detail that we're trying to get in there. The current thing that we've got is, I mean, you've got it on one of your posters downstairs, pay as you feel.
Yeah.
Like, so we'd had free, we'd had like, obviously £1 price, like, information about whether you have to pay on the door or buy tickets in advance.
Yeah.
And then someone said, we've discovered pay as you feel, and we're like, right, okie dokie, let's go and build it, build that in.
Yeah.
Like, so you've got that as an option, so that everyone knows what their expectations are. Because you, like you say, you don't want to turn up the door and go, tits, I haven't got any money on us, or I haven't done this, or I haven't done that.
We don't want to make people feel bad about not paying either. Like, it's always nice, but it's kind of like people will.
People want to. People want to like feel that they're supporting. I mean, this is definitely something that we've picked up on in the last year or so, and I think this is actually related more to people's relationship with Spotify and that kind of streaming services. There's a realization that your £10 that you pay a month isn't really going to the artist, and you're probably getting a really fair, like ridiculous deal for your tenner. So when it's like someone actually putting on a show, the idea that you're supporting that person's career directly is massive. One of the first functions we've got coming on ours is literally a tipping function, where you can be in a gig and think, this was mint, I've paid my ticket, but I want to give them another couple of quid, or like,
that's a good idea.
That's awesome. I seen one when we're doing the lockdowns. There was one called Tip Jar.
It's a tip jar idea.
And it was when you were doing like live streams and stuff, and I never quite understood how it worked, because every time I used it never worked. I kind of gave up on that. But
no, it's got, I mean, like the tech's got to work. I mean, like I said, my brother's artists that they had when they were doing streaming services, like they were all like, buy me a coffee kind of thing, which at first I was a bit like, that sounds almost desperate, but actually you guys are desperate, because your income's just been taken clearly away from you, and have no possibility of getting any government support. So too right. I'll buy you a coffee. Like,
that's how you get t-shirts, to be fair. Well,
they need that, don't they?
I know Blink 182 don't actually. I already bought the ticket, like, but I kind of that's what I do. Like, if because I used to buy the album, but I don't buy the album anymore, because you can just listen to it on Spotify. So I'll try and buy a t-shirt, or I'll try and buy a ticket or whatnot.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, there's been like things shown that, like, do you remember when Radiohead did In Rainbows? So that was the first album that they did after they'd like had their record deal, and they did it like as a free download. Like,
I remember that.
So this would be like about 2007ish, and everyone was like, "This is mental. This is absolutely mental. They're just going to give this album away, But it was pretty much pay as you feel. So you set your own price. You could set note, or you could, and they planned this whole thing out. So there was like, the download came out first, and then sometime later the physical versions came out, and there was different physical copies. So there was a CD, or there was like a deluxe vinyl version, and the revenues that they got from the way that they set it up was way higher.
Yeah, because it's a free advertisement, and then you're like, I really like this.
And the fans knew that the money was going to the band.
Yeah, that's it. It's an important thing, isn't it? Really, that's what's I reckon is good about, and I wish more people got kind of involved in it, especially fans. Bandcamp.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm still not set up to that.
You need it,
because you said it for like a year, and I'm like, I'll get to it, but I haven't.
To be fair, I haven't either, to be honest, with my new stuff. But it's that's a pay as you feel as well. I tell you who constantly, every now and then, puts a pay as you feel on all the albums. There's a band called the Mountain Goats. I got their entire discography, and I could have just paid nothing for them, but I didn't have that much money, so I paid like a couple of quid per album. I've got like over 100 songs. I mean, I've given like a tenner for them, but it's like I'd rather have done that than.
That's exactly it. Yeah, that's exactly it. It's something, and everyone the appreciation's there from the artist's point of view, and also obviously from a fan that you think you're paying someone supporting their career.
Because you think like I could have just not paid that, and just listened to it.
I'll just add that list, that playlist, or to me playlist, and I'll get it for nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
But no one wants that. Like,
Yeah,
you know, like
people are willing, like fans are willing to pay a little, even if it's a little bit. It's just like
I think it's this. Yeah, it's definitely this sort of mindset thing that like the recognition of. I'm not saying that everybody in the music business like deserves to make money from being in the music business. Like that's clearly like impossible to promise that. But the recognition is definitely that if someone's going to make money from someone output in the music business, it should probably be the person who did it.
Yeah,
yeah, that's absolutely. It. You get the crumbs, don't you?
Like, that's, you know, that's probably the way it should be. Like, and you know, you kind of seen it like every time the record industry or the music industry pivots or changes with new technology, the contract stays the same. It's just like, the format's different, right? So it was paper, so it was publishing, all right, but now it's like a recorded bit. Well, we'll kind of call this bit publishing, but we're not really publishing it, you know, because we're not binding it in like sort of a folio, like, and selling it in like, you know, Tin Pan Alley. Like, it's just a concept. But now we've got to this point now we're going, well, actually we're streaming. Like, okay, there might be 1 billion uploads going on to Spotify, you know, every week or whatever it is. But Spotify needs the musicians. The musicians could probably find a way around Spotify. Eventually that'll not be the platform of choice. It just won't be, and never is forever.
Well, we were talking about this with Frankie Francis. I was just saying, like, it's Spotify.
I kind of just sat and watched that.
Yeah, I know. But
he proper fanboyed over Frankie. You know, I just sat like, it's a live audience, mate. Woo, Frankie!
Run him off.
But there's a demographic that like subscribes to Spotify, and it's not the younger audience, it's the older.
Definitely.
It's like the millennials, because we've known now better. And the younger people are just listening to the music on TikTok and SoundCloud. People think it's because it's free. That's why they're doing it. But the trends shifting and changing. And I think Spotify's realising this, which is why they're going more podcasts. Don't forget to listen to our podcast on
Spotify, review it, even if you didn't like it. Just don't listen to us again.
But that's why I think that because Spotify's marketing itself more as it's trying to do. That's why
it's an audio,
like Joe Rogan deal and stuff like that. They want to be more. Let's do podcasts instead of music, because I think they can see where the trends are going. Because people are still listening to Spotify podcasts, but they're just not listening to. The younger people aren't listening to aren't subscribing to Spotify anymore.
I mean, even like I've got 2 kids. One is 18 and she has a Spotify account, and the other one isn't 18 and she definitely is not interested in Spotify at all. Like, you know, she's much more exactly what you said there.
Yeah.
Like TikTok, like, and YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube.
YouTube's the two platforms for her. She doesn't give a monkey's about.
Again, subscribe to our YouTube. If we get 1,000 by the end of the year, we go skinny dipping in the North Sea.
Yeah,
it's not going to happen. I think we're like 103.
No, we've got.
There we go. Right, Throw down a challenge.
180.
Well, we tried the challenge to kind of make sure that we got something out of it, but I don't think we're doing.
But we've done okay, to be fair. I mean,
where are we?
So what's the actual challenge? 1,000 subscribers, and you jump in the North.
Yeah, we're at 179 as we speak.
We're gonna get that done for you.
But when we said that,
join all the little old biddies that I see like every morning.
5 months ago, we were on like 60 subscribers, weren't we?
Yeah, so
50. So
we've
already like times it, we've tripled it, haven't we?
Well, there you go. This time next year.
We're getting there. Just bit by bit. Thing is, what we do though, it's like organic word of mouth reach. It's not, we don't have much like Google search engine optimization or anything like that, but even Spotify, like, I don't know how to change it. It says Vince showed us a little screenshot of, like, you've got the podcast, it's like, podcast similar to this. None.
That's beautifully unique.
Fair enough, though.
That's
wonderful.
One of a kind.
Yeah.
Just like,
that's it. You're in your own. Yeah,
best
that's
ever live music podcast right out of Sunday.
Yeah,
that's exactly it. Yes.
Yeah. We're going to take a part break, and then in part 3 we've got some questions from HMV Newcastle for you.
Oh, lovely.
Then we're going to ask you some questions to Ask HMV Metro Centre.
All right.
Spoilers next week's episode, and then I've. Yeah, we're recording on Thursday.
That's cool. Yeah,
makes sense. And then we'll get back to part 3.
Yep. Hang on. Shit.
Oh, come on, James.
Come on. Where's the
hang on.
chocolate music?
Hang on.
He's got adverts.
Adverts, as I was saying before. Season a bit.
You need like a gong at the end of that.
Yeah, you want something.
Yeah, to remix it.
When you got this?
Oh, I got it.
You're at that age now where it's difficult to sit down.
You've got to make all the noises and like...
That's exactly.
You're at that age where if you trip, you didn't just trip, you had a fall.
You had a fall, yeah. I had a fall the other day, actually. No, I didn't. I felt I had a fall anyway. I chased a thief all the way around Durham.
Did you?
And then
Again, or is this the same story?
This is the same story, but...
It just goes on about it all the time.
What I didn't mention was... oh no, it might have been... Oh no, this was a different story.
Another shoplifter.
Yeah, he got away this time though. But he was a fast bastard.
Of course.
Like, but he was hiding in the bushes. My dad found him in the bushes. However, he was really fast. Like,
what was he stealing?
Oh, he just
camouflage. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
some tracksuit bottoms, basically.
Oh, wow.
But
no wonder he was fast then. If he was a runner, like stealing tracky bottoms.
Well, we found him down like Iceland at first.
Can you track that?
From Durham,
and basically, like my dad was like, "Oh, do you want to go for a walk?" I was like, "We want to go for a walk." So someone stole something. We've had confirmation he's down Iceland. The shop, not the country. I was going to say the country, yeah, not the shop. So I was like, all right. So we kind of cornered him. It's like, can we get our tracksuit back, please? So I don't know what you're talking about. It's like, listen, we've got you on CCTV. And then he just pegged it. And I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, not again. Because that a few weeks back, I chased another guy around flipping Durham. But he's a fast bugger, and I was like, I'm just not fit in. I feel like I called my bluff the last time. I was kind of like, listen, we're working a running shop. You can't run away from us. It's like, I'm totally unfit. This guy's like this.
He's like, I'll take my chances.
Red in the face.
Stop. I think this was the Thursday. Yes, this was the Thursday. Friday, I was like, ooh. Saturday, could not get out of bed. Like it's my hips. I was like, I felt like I was thinking, this is what like needing a hip replacement looks like. Like this is what happens when you don't exercise.
Yeah, your hip flexors have gone.
Yeah, probably. That's
what it is. I
did try. I really tried to kind of chase.
So next time you get a shoplifter in, can you give them like some time for you to warm up? Like.
I'm just gonna try and
shoplifters, please give me 5 to 10 minutes to do some stretching.
Let me stretch,
and when you're ready, I'll let you know, and then you hoisty, and I'll be coming after you.
Pretty much so.
Excellent.
So that's a warning. You got away, a bit annoying.
Yeah.
But you know, they always come back, like the guy last time.
Always return to seeing the crime.
They do. But anyway.
What the? Welcome to part 3.
That's the vibe. This was recorded at work, by the way.
No wonder the shoplifters are getting away.
He's like,
James, he stole some shoes. That alarm, if you listen on the back, that alarm is the security thing when he's going past.
Yeah. I'm not recording.
So part 3 is normally where we get you to promote what gigs you've got coming out.
All right. Well, we've got about 257 gigs after this week, so
ain't nobody got time for that. But last week, so a couple of weeks ago, we started doing a new thing where the guest that's on will answer a question from the guest before and ask a question for the next one ahead. So you got a few questions from Rich from HMV.
All right, smashing.
Big shout out to Rich from HMV Newcastle. Yes. He's listening to this as we speak. Yeah, that's how it works. That's what podcasts are. Question 1: what inspired you to start the Gigco app?
Well, I mean, I can't take full credit for it because it wasn't me. But as I say, it was.
Rich, you fucked up.
Yeah, no. The Ben and Frank were inspired by their love of live music in their venues, and Ben was a professional drummer and loved playing in other venues, and they just wanted to make it easier for artists and venues to connect. That was the simple premise, like just connecting.
It goes, what was the first gig you ever paid to go to?
Ah, right. Well, the first gig that I ever paid to go to would have been probably Transvision Vamp at the City Hall in Newcastle. Do you remember? You won't remember Transvision Vamp because this was way before your time. No, but basically, it was a lady called Wendy James who was beautiful, and she was in a band called Transvision Vamp, which was sort of like a pop punky band in the late 80s.
That does ring a bell, What song did they do?
Baby, I Don't Care.
You will definitely.
I think I kind of rings a bell.
Yeah. So I'm not that was the first. But the week before, I didn't pay for the ticket, but my auntie dragged me to see the Everly Brothers. So normally the question is, what is the first band that you went to see live? And I get to see the Everly Brothers, which was like the Beatles' favourite band. So that really ages me. But they were they were on their sort of like third or fourth comeback tour. But they were great.
And it's two different questions, isn't it?
It is.
The first band I saw live was Avril Lavigne. The first I would have paid to see would have been Ollie Murs.
There you go. Nice. It is, because it is different. Like, who did you get dragged to?
I enjoyed that.
Who did you choose to go and see?
Yeah. What were your two there, James? What would you go to and who did you pay to see?
I can't remember who. I I was forced to go to. Probably a word like it's like a kind of like a regressed memory. Is that the word to use?
Was that bad?
Well, I don't know. I can't remember.
Link 181.
But the first band I paid to see were the Foo Fighters. So it was during the All My Life tour.
Is that what you tell people when you say that's the first person I saw live?
Yes, that was because I can't remember. It was the first gig I remember going to.
It was definitely like Aqua or something like that. You just don't want to admit it.
It was. You know what? I'm sure. No, it wasn't. I'm sure my mum said like, "Oh, do you fancy going to see the Lighthouse Family?" And I was like, "I don't fancy that." I didn't know who the Lighthouse Family were. I thought they were like going to see like a lighthouse. I didn't realise
who lived in the lighthouse.
Yeah, I was like, I didn't really fancy that. I probably wouldn't have fancied it anyway. To be fair, like, but apparently they're playing at Tyneside. South Shield. Sorry, one time. But yeah, Foo Fighters. That was in. Oh, was in year 9, year 8. But anyway, it was like the all my life I've been searching for something. That one.
There you go.
But yeah.
I kind of recognise the song.
Do you not recognise that one?
No, I lost it.
I can't even like remember the bloody words.
The first person I paid to see was Ollie Murs. I don't think you got the right genre for me there.
Yeah. I think they were good. They were good. For what I remember.
A final question from Rich.
Yes.
If you could wave a magic wand and have something happened that blows up your app in a positive way, what would it be? For example, financial backing, celebrity endorsement. What would be the ideal thing that you go?
If we're getting into the really boring stuff that we're doing at the minute, it's money. It's there's no business. There's
makes
no
the world go around.
Yeah, it does, man. We've sort of bootstrapped our business to where we are today, and we are currently talking with people. Hopefully, that will have a deal done by the end of the year. But I mean, I kind of hope that it would be done by now. And that's no disrespect to anybody who we are talking to about raising money. We love you all. But everything takes time, and with celebrity endorsements, that's the sort of thing that you go, yeah, that'd be cool because it brings people on the app, but it doesn't kick you on. It's just it's cool, it's great, but it is, you've got to be honest, it's money. I mean, we have got one thing that we're dealing with at the moment, which is effectively there's like a incubator project with Abbey Road called Abbey Road Red. Ooh. And we've had some initial conversations with those guys. Outside of someone coming along with the money that we need, that's like really, really exciting from our point of view. The connections and the opportunities there to sort of expand the business, and again to get sort of like tedious and boring about the business side of things. Like one of the things that they do for their artists is they've got like all this data gathering stuff of their Spotify listens and shit like that. And we could fill a gap because we could give them their live music interest. And there's a massive difference between like how many Spotify plays you might have had, which is a passive thing, and who's willing to spend 15 quid to come and see you in Sunderland.
Yeah, that's the leap.
It's a like, massive leap. Like,
not even that. It's like who's willing to come and see you.
Just that
struggle to sell tickets for a fiver.
That's exactly it. And I think there's like, have you seen this guy on Instagram called Elijah who does like sort of Spotify post-it note things? He's mint, right? He's really great. He's a DJ. He was in like sort of like, I think like sort of some grime groups like in the early 2000s. He's like a really smart cookie. He teaches at SOAS, and he's got a great profile on LinkedIn, and he'll talk like quite bluntly about the music business. So he talks about, you know, what you think you need as an artist and what you actually need and what you think an agent or a manager could do for you and what they actually do for you. And
that's important,
and it's this like sort of like just reality check all the way along the line that, you know, you might have had like Joe, and these are obviously ridiculous figures, but you might have had 1 billion listens to your track, but if it's because your track was used on a film or a game or something like that, where the person who was listening to it wasn't really interested in James or Connor, they were interested in Grand Theft Auto 6.
Yeah.
And like,
love to see your song, Grand Theft Auto 6. Punch a hooker in the face. Like, I no regrets.
I haven't got time.
Going home.
That's exactly it. But you know what I mean? So like that's that leap between like, oh well, that's because, you know, 1 billion listens, man, that's mint. But actually it's not, it's related to some other thing, you know, like, and that being able to connect so us being able to sort of like fit a little hole with them to say, because it's kind of like, you know, the fundamental breakdown for streaming services, as far as I can see, is that it's completely flipped the business model. You know, the business model was you record an album and you do a tour to sell the album, and it's now you make an album to promote like the tour that you're going to do, and that's backside forwards. Like so people are stepping out into the real world without a fucking clue how many people are going to turn up.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. That's what I'm good. We definitely had another question. It's about your time as a road manager. I nearly forgot about that.
I don't have that one written down. So
well, this was that was
asked a question a while back.
Okay. Yeah, that was around about 2008. Basically, my brother was involved with Festival, which is one of the festivals that was held on the Isle of Wight. And he was like, "Do you fancy doing some work for us?" And I was like, "Yeah, I don't mind getting involved in that." He went, "Do you fancy picking the Sugarhill gang up from Heathrow?" And I was like, "Yeah, okay, like, I can do that." So I got the train down to King's Cross, and round the back of King's Cross, sort of like up by the prison, there's like this place that hires out shitloads of music equipment, including like splitter vans.
Yeah.
And I went there, and there's a Mercedes van for us, and I pick it up, and then sort of 2 hours later, I'm sitting outside of Heathrow Airport with a sign saying Sugarhill Gang, and these three guys like are walking towards us, who are clearly the Sugarhill Gang, like whether you recognise them or not, like because everyone else getting off the flight from Lithuania are wearing sort of like, you know, chinos and shorts and like plaid shirts, and this guy's coming out in a white silk jacket, and another one's got like this black bandana and a cane with a silver like skull top,
singing hip.
Yeah, exactly.
Hip to the hip.
So like we got
what's that?
Finish the rap. Go on.
I wouldn't. No, I don't even dare finish the rap.
Well,
I wouldn't. That's all I know from the rap.
Hip, a hippie to the hip hop, but don't stop. A rockin' to the bam boogie up, John the boogie with the rhythm and the boogie to beat. That's all I got.
Exactly.
I was really hoping he did more than me, though. That was mad.
So yeah, so we picked them up from there, and we left, and we were driving, and they said, you know, we've had a flight over, like we're really hungry. Can we stop somewhere? And I was like, well, we're gonna, you know, got to hit our ferry in a couple of hours, but I'm sure we can find like, you know, a service station. He went, what, so like, you know, like a roadside cafe type thing? I was like, yeah. And we pulled in at a Little Chef.
Oh, no way.
Yes. So we pulled in the Little Chef at the top of the A3, and I walk in, sat them down, and everybody who is also in the Little Chef is sort of like gobsmacked. There's these three like really ridiculous, well, not ridiculously dressed, you're beautifully dressed. They really were. Like, you know, Master G was very beautifully dressed, and Wonder Mike in his white jacket was absolutely amazing. And they came and sat down, and it was just after the Beijing Olympics, and they opened up the menu, and they were like, "The Olympian breakfast? I don't think any Olympian's ever eaten that." And I was like, no, I've got a sneaking suspicion that nobody had ever eaten the Olympian breakfast at the Little Chef and actually been an Olympian.
Yeah.
So yes, I basically ran outside and rang all my mates going like, "Hey, I'm tour managing the Sugarhill gang at the minute." And then they're all going like, "Hotel, motel?" I went, "No, Little Chef." Yeah. So yeah. So what, great bunch of lads.
Gonna think, what was the Olympian breakfast? That's got to be like
it's like double everything.
Yeah.
Like black pudding, sausage, bacon, eggs, hash browns, beans. The lot, man.
That's the full British experience. Right, exactly as well. You know, just
100%
making bringing in the culture. And
that's exactly it. Welcome to the culture. Like
the Hotel Little Chef.
That's exactly it. Yeah. Not quite the same lyrically.
No.
So on Thursday we're running a podcast with HMV Metro Centre.
Okay.
We've done it with HMV Newcastle before. And we're going to do, it's not so much live and local, is it? Because they've got like an event set.
Well, I think, I don't think it's not live and local because it's
yeah, and so essentially we're going to be doing the podcast with a bunch of random people. We haven't really prepped well enough for
so
this.
you need me to do your interview questions.
Do my job.
Can you
so we start off with, who are you and why are you here?
As far as I'm aware, we've got Stephen and Matt from HMV are going to be part of it.
Excellent.
Chris Norris could potentially be there from...
Oh, right, okay.
We've had him on the podcast before.
We have.
We've also had Jack Milcrease on the podcast before. He might not be there for this episode. I'm still figuring out what voice note I just got there. And Jeff Mullen.
Jeff Mull, that one. The main one.
The main gaffer. He was meant to be on our episodes a few weeks back, but he was unable to do so. So, we've got potentially 5 people there. Could you ask potentially 5 questions?
At this moment now, come up with 5 questions. Oh my lord.
I'm very good at
that's on the spot. Like my journalism is not going to kick in too well here. Well, let's think about this. Right, so it's not the same as what Rich does then. It's the Newcastle store.
Yeah.
It's a Metro Centre store.
It's the Metro Centre, yeah, but it's it's like Jeff Mull. I think Jeff Mull, he was on the X Factor one. He didn't get into the finals, but he got into the when they got into the mansions and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, the judges' houses.
The judges' houses, yeah. He got into that and he just missed out. I never watched it, if I'm honest. So I don't know. I just Wikipedia'd his name, and that's what came up.
Oh, hey, if you got a Wikipedia entry, you must be doing something.
Well, exactly.
Right?
That's what I'm thinking.
I don't have a Wikipedia.
I made one up for myself. It was deleted within 3 hours.
I tried it with me as well, and just like said, there's no sources here. It's like, oh, cheers, mate.
I am the source.
Yeah, I am.
I am the mayo. Doesn't have to be music related. It'd be like, you could just name a pet fish. What would it be?
Well, right, okay.
For a music podcast, we don't talk a lot of music.
I think we talk enough music, but it's kind of like
episode out 2 weeks ago, or today, as we would say, but 2 weeks to these people. We argued about ketchup.
Ketchup?
I think it's a very overrated condiment.
I've got to say, it's not it probably doesn't come at my top 3, but if we didn't have some in our house, my eldest daughter would think that we're trying to deprive her of a human right, but my youngest daughter never touches the stuff.
Should be the way around, shouldn't it?
Do you remember that when Heinz made green ketchup?
I do. That was weird. I don't think anybody bought it. They just looked and went, that's different.
I bought the purple one. It was purple and green one. It was a bit weird putting on your chips.
I don't remember.
What was that in aid of? Just
basically, I think the
gimmick.
Yeah, it's basically just added food colour into tomato sauce. But I think it got like gave a bunch of people cancer and shit like that, so that was
Allegedly.
I mean, that must have been
allegedly. I don't want to be sued by Heinz.
very quick.
But if you want to sponsor us,
almost instant cancer.
But by the time you finish your chip, you're on Radio Therapy.
That's exactly it.
It was either that or
Take me to oncology.
that was the rumor I heard, and it might have just been it just didn't catch on because it was like £2 a bottle. Like,
I mean,
it was just like ridiculous.
A mate of mine, we had a very long discussion about the lack of blue foods.
Oh yeah. Ooh. What's a blue? I. It's a blue. So what is a blue food?
Blue cheese.
That's about it. That's basically we got a couple of fruit. Maybe that would fall into that. Some cheese with blue bits running through it, but there's
Like
and
moldy bread,
pop round here, I suppose.
Villa pop, huh?
Yeah, bubblegum flavoured.
That's exactly it. But other than that, no blue food.
Blue Skittles. Blue Smarties.
Well, there used to be blue ketchup.
Yeah, but then it gave you cancer, so they had to cut that faster than Tarbs.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Blue food.
So yeah, so like there you go.
Okay.
Would you eat blue food?
Yeah.
Would you eat blue food?
For example, Heinz.
If it was safe to do so.
Yes, if it's been proven to be safe to do so.
It's a lack of blue food. God, I just didn't even think.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think now, because blueberries are purple, aren't they? There's that big.
Yeah, I
thing
think
in that.
that's exactly it. You know, you wouldn't if
They're
somebody.
also shite, Rich. Inside jokes. If you've watched like episode 30 ago, you get it.
Right. Oh.
Something like that. There's a big tiff with blueberries now.
Is that right?
No, I've said quite a few controversial things in this podcast, and it's not as bad as you think. It's like I would rather have parsnips over gravy on my Sunday dinner.
Not controversial when he says something like that. He'd rather have parsnips and gravy. Well,
So-
Parsnips than.
yeah.
I would have a parsnip over a gravy.
If you had to choose between gravy and parsnips, you'd pick parsnips.
Yeah.
It's just.
So I've said how much I don't like blueberries. I think they're one of the worst fruits going.
I mean,
which caused controversy.
I think like splitting hairs between fruits, perfectly acceptable behaviour. I think the idea that you'd have
I'm
a
not
Sunday
saying
dinner
I-
without gravy.
I'm not saying
Yeah,
I
that's-
disrespect
that's-
gravy.
that's
Gravy is great.
certifiable.
That was just
Gravy's great, but I'm a parsnips all the way over.
that nearly destroyed the podcast. Like,
And you know what? It didn't. It gave
didn't
us
I'm
a
trying-
very high view count. Is what it did.
Controversy sells, apparently.
Yeah, well, definitely. Just say weird stuff, and then you'd be laughing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but that's quite out there. I mean, like we have a grading of sides, and we think that in our house that cauliflower cheese is the king of sides for Sunday dinner.
Cauliflower, yeah.
Like that, it's not on everyone's menu.
Yeah.
But we think that's the bit when somebody's gone to the bother of making cauliflower cheese to serve with the Sunday
It's got to be the
dinner.
right
That is-
consistency.
Oh, yeah,
though.
definitely.
You know when you get cauliflower cheese and it's like cauliflower with a little bit of cheese. You go, what the fuck is that?
No. Like, yeah,
It's gotta be
100%. It's
cheese
got to be good.
cauliflower, yeah.
Like, you're not having rubbish stuff. But we think that. But I can't imagine a world where someone would choose any vegetable or any other side and at the expense of gravy.
Oh, I'll tell you what, parsnips are good because you can.
Thank you. Yeah.
Like, if I was aware I wasn't having gravy on my dinner, I would make honey roasted parsnips, and that would be enough flavour in it.
Okay.
And like, there's ways around it, but parsnips are always.
I mean, I love parsnips.
My
Don't get me
favourite
wrong.
ones.
I absolutely love
like
parsnips. I just can't imagine it. Like, can't imagine a Sunday dinner without some sort of gravy.
A world
A world without gravy. I can't. Actually,
Yeah,
I mean, I can't imagine a world without gravy. Yeah, that's exactly.
The world in a world without gravy.
That'd be terrible.
I'm not gonna go. Let's go. It's not too long.
So, second question to the gang.
All right, oh man, this is like proper putting on the spot. Yeah, I'm not really very good at answering questions. Never mind thinking of them.
Don't you worry about it. I put you on the spot a lot worse in the
Right.
next question. I'm going to hide it from everyone as well.
Oh, is that right?
It's a new segment I'm going to come up with.
Okay.
Right. Come on then. Have I got to come up with another
I've
question?
got to get
still?
4 more questions first.
Oh, sugar me, right. Okay, so we've asked them about blue food, so we can't really go any more food topics. So we should really, like, do you touch on music at all in this thing?
Yeah,
really?
you
Can
do.
do. What's your favourite Ariana Grande track?
Yeah,
You know,
that
like,
obviously
kind
you've
of
got
stuff.
those sort of questions. I mean, that's like, this would be more like if me eldest had written this, like, than myself, like. But like, what is like? No, come on. Like, I was just going to say something a bit sort of snidey about HMV there. Like, I don't really want to, like, because I saw somebody making a joke about people, like, you know, digging for records in HMV as if it was like, you know, how could you do that? But I bought a lot of my records in HMV, so I'm quite partial and have a soft spot for them. Like, oh God Almighty! Honestly, this is terrible. I hadn't had any planning for this.
It's my bad. I meant to send you a little template.
That's all right.
That's all right. I didn't.
We could help you with a question. Let's make a theme.
Yeah, come on. You're the professional podcasters.
Let's make a theme of a question.
Yes.
So think of like, say like clothing. So what? I can answer this one. I can ask this one. What? Here's a good one. Do you have a uniform for stage, like in terms of stage presence? Do you have a specific uniform?
Well, this is going to be asked to one of the musicians.
Yeah. There we go. No, that's a good one. How many questions have we got? I mean, this is a lot of questions, by the way.
Yeah, well, we got like 5 people on next week. That's the issue. Normally it's like 3 questions.
See.
But now I'm like,
on the same thing. Like, you know, obviously you're wearing a band T-shirt, and did you say you had a tattoo of an artiste?
Yeah, I've got Ed Sheeran, Avril Lavigne, Ollie Murs.
There you go.
Myself.
Obviously. Yourself.
You got a drum.
Anyone's drunk it.
Yeah. What is their favourite band T-shirt?
Ooh.
You know.
Yeah, I'm not going to answer that, but I do have an answer to it. But
do you? Yeah,
I've got. It's a Less Than Jake and Real Big Fish on one of their tours that they did a tour together. It's kind of like it's like a Bill and Ted cartoon thing. It's such a cool design. I love it. It's my favourite T-shirt.
There you go. Excellent.
But anyway, that's a good question.
Can we ask, what is your favourite local Northeast music podcast?
Based in Sunderland?
Just in general.
Yeah.
No. It's an obvious answer. I mean, we can just come up with random questions for them.
Yeah.
We've got 3, if you think of anything else.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure I can give you some questions.
Just to throw you on the spot.
Go on, then.
Before we go into gig advertisements. Could you recommend a local artist and give them a shout out? Anyone you think our viewers should go, I could take a listen to them.
All right, okay. I could probably recommend, like, let me think. Who would I?
If you could only recommend one to be like, go check them out.
That's a segment question.
Cool, yeah. So, well, obviously we're in the Sunderland side of things. So, you know, the young lad Tommy Smith, who's doing the rounds at the minute.
Flipping it guy. Yeah.
Like he's really like doing some canny stuff. I'm quite impressed with him. Saw him in Newcastle around about this time last year supporting Tim Burgess, and he was excellent. Like, and he's really, like, you can see he's really doing well at the moment.
Yeah,
and he's a nice lad. Like, he was a canny kid. On our side of the river, like, there's Ernie, who is an artist sort of based in North Shields Way. I think you're going to see him if you're going to see Sam Fender on either the Saturday or the Friday night, I can't remember, but he's doing one of the support slots there, and they're really good. Early Purple, they're doing some quite beautiful stuff. And then if you get the opportunity to see Geordie Jazz, the band Nats, they're the best band in Newcastle currently by a fucking mile. No disrespect to anyone else.
Yeah, you're just full.
That's
mint, cool. So obviously, if anybody wanted to use Gigco, do you guys use socials at all to kind of update?
Yeah, I mean, we've got like Gigco App is pretty much our handle across the board. So GIGCOAPP for Twitter, Insta, Facebook, and we try and be as active as we can. We are not the world's greatest social media experts, but we kind of also think that the social media is kind of against. Just that the idea is to build
That's
our
the point
own.
That's the point of the app.
Our own, yeah. But having said that, tomorrow morning I'm going on a Learn Yourself TikTok course. So if we suddenly start smashing TikToks out the park, it's because I've learned how to do them. But yeah, we're across the board on all those, and we try and send out something on a kind of daily basis.
Yeah.
And it's normally promoting somebody in the app or something that's happening. So it's not about like, oh, listen, look at us, So the one today was Lass playing at the Cumberland Arms in Biker. A little video for her.
So go check that out at Gigco App. Go like and follow us. We are at Off the Stage UK, Off the Stage 2 on Twitter. I will try and get more active on that. Maybe we'll see.
Yeah.
In terms of gig wise, I'm pretty much done with my tour. That finished on Saturday.
Well done.
But Rich did just message us before saying, make sure you plug the gig.
Of course.
So in 2 days' time, if you're watching this on the Tuesday, if you're watching this from the Friday onward, you've missed it. But I'll be playing the Grove, Newcastle, supporting India Rockin', who was one of our first acts on. Also with a support act of Georgina Gale, was on our HMV Live and Local.
Yes, Newcastle.
She hasn't been on the podcast properly since, has she?
She hasn't. We need to. You know what? I don't think we've ever asked her to come on.
That's probably why she's not been on.
Yeah,
that's normally the case, isn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, on St Michael's Road Biker on the 15th of June, I'll be doing a bit of a set to kind of celebrate that the tour's over.
Is that a Thursday?
It's a Thursday.
Thursday, yeah.
Because then I'm at Beggars Bridge straight after. No. I'm not. I'm at Beggars Bridge this Thursday. I've got nothing on after that. I've just got, it's my diary. Gig for Rich. I didn't even put the gig in. Sorry, I will be updated.
Thing is though, like, 'cause the way Rich books gigs is kind of like, kind of put that, what you're doing this date. Nothing at the moment. Keep it free.
Yeah.
Why? I'll explain later.
Are we recording anything on that 12th?
That's exactly it.
I love it. I was like, ooh,
exciting.
Have we got anyone on the 12th of June? Just noticed my diary says 12th of June, loan payout.
Yeah, we've got, tell you who we've got.
I must put it in then, podcast record.
Kewan Bow.
It's a good name to have.
Yeah.
Right, that's my diary. Then on the 13th I got podcast release, then wedding gig. Then the 14th is chauffeur mother. 15th is gig for Rich. 16th I've got a solo gig, then we're at the Points.
Oh, Katie O'Brien's, I need to wear.
And also this weekend then, if you're watching this on the Tuesday, on the 17th of June, we have our Off the Stage festival.
Yes, let's not forget about that.
Something I should start promoting.
Yeah.
I'm sure James has put a clip in here to advertise the
Yes,
gig.
I will do.
Basically, you turn up, it's pay whatever you want. If you can only afford a couple of pound, that's fine. If you can afford a couple of million, that's fine too.
Yeah.
Some of the names we've got on, we have Yuma, Sam Shields, Josh Hennigan, we have Philip Jonathan, Black Moss, Electric Circus, Fire Lady Luck, Fail to Ignite, Ellen, and the Headlines and the Electrics. That was all of what we've got, not some of what we got. First act's on at 2, you can get down here from about 1 p.m. We're going to be setting up from 12.
Yeah.
I think. We haven't actually planned the day, we just know we're putting some music on.
Yeah.
It's going to be good.
Excellent stuff.
We'll try and get it on the Gigco app as well. It's a good show.
Yeah, definitely.
And if you've got nothing on that Saturday, pop along. It's an all-day event. Even if you just pop along for the first couple acts and you're busy.
Is that the 17th?
Saturday the 17th.
Excellent.
17th of June.
Yeah. We normally have a music segment after this, but we don't. So
didn't bring me kazoo. So can't play a tune. I'll just have to do the...
I'll just have to do that.
Yeah, come on.
Come on, James. I was going to press the button for you to... Adverts, 2 seconds.
It's fine. I said, yeah, you can do it if you want. Okay. This is the end of the podcast?
This is the music bit. Go on, James. Give us a rap.
Very much. Thank you very much for watching or listening if you're listening. We've been Off the Stage podcast. I'm not very good at rapping. I should listen to the Sugarhill gang a bit more, shouldn't I?
Possibly.
Tune in next time. This pod went downhill this episode. It was really good. Thank you very much for coming down.
Oh, you're welcome.
It's been a fantastic episode. I've actually enjoyed listening to the technical side of things as well.
Oh no, it's a bit boring, but
no, not at all.
It works.
When it works for me though, I'll be on it.
Yeah, when it works for you. As I say, Gino will be getting a little nudge in the morning.
The final question before you go.
Yes.
If I was to promote one of my gigs on Gigco,
Yes.
Do I have to message you, or can I have it on my account and just say this?
So basically, the way that it is at the minute is that if the venue is in the locations that we've got live on there, fingers crossed we'll get them put straight in directly. But people like Richard HMV, sometimes they'll get a ping from him saying, can you just update these, because they don't have access to their HMV website, and there's no real direct website for that. But the intention will be, once this sort of fix is done, that effectively every venue will have, like I say, a back-end portal. So take where we are here, ISIS, the owner of the venue can have it and they can put stuff in. But if they have promoters who are doing regular slots here, so like every Saturday, you guys, you also can have access and you can just populate it yourself. So we can do the mining and put it all in there. But if you go, you pick some shit pictures or different way,
you can alter it.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's pretty cool.
Thank you very much for coming down. It's been a really good episode, and I look forward to using the Gigco app.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Well,
go tune James's song "No Regrets."
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
He's so good at promotion.
Anyway, see you later. I had a nightmare with it, to be honest. I'll tell you in a bit.
Oh, hope you didn't regret that.
Hi, I'm Ollie Murs, and you've been listening to Off the Stage podcast. Make sure you tune in next time.